how to live a very balanced life.
I've totally sacrificed my friendships, and I've definitely sacrificed my family. And yeah, I only get 4 to 6 hours of sleep every night.
Struggles with managing your time, how to solve issues with love, life, money, or your spiritual journey.
I can't stress to you enough, it's important to live a very balanced life.
Dani is the counterweight to give you balance.
Do you find that you're not living out your life the way you want it to?
This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Welcome to the Dani Johnson Show. We truly are blessed that you made a decision to join us today. And I think that when this show is all done, after this whole 2-hour program is done, you're going to say, oh my gosh, did I make a right decision by joining that show? Why? We're going to talk about, maybe not your favorite subject, but how you can win, how you can get ahead in this subject. And that would be the subject of money and debt. You're like, flip the channel. No, this is a time to learn. This is a time to really look at the debt and make some new wise decisions, as well as look at where has this come from? Why am I in it? I hate this thing. Why do I continue to play in this game? You know, an interesting question was put on Facebook, and the question that we asked was, do you think debt is a normal part of life, or do you think it's possible to live without debt? What is your biggest hindrance to getting out of debt, and what causes you to live paycheck to paycheck? I'm really blown away by the responses that came in. One particular individual says, and it was a woman that said this, as long as we are taxed, we will always have debt. Wow. Talk about blaming something she has no control over for her personal debt, for her personal financial decisions. Because we're taxed? Really? Plenty of countries tax the snot out of their citizens, and many of them don't have debt because the country doesn't allow it, meaning they don't offer it up to their citizens, especially in poor countries, very poor countries. Okay, and then there's other places. That is to say, wait a second, there are plenty of people in our country and in other developed countries that, are heavily taxed. And there are individuals that aren't debt-free. Now, what's your excuse to that? Well, they must make a lot of money. No, actually, the fact is the more money people make, typically the more in debt they go. That is the current financial plan of most people in the world today. The more we make, the more we spend, and the further in debt we go. Listen, I'm not talking to you from a place of self-righteousness here. You have to know. My husband and I were totally stupid financially. We really were. You know, we both grew up on welfare. We both grew up having to deal with some really bad situations between abuse and divorces and, emotional torment, mental, verbal abuse, physical abuse, and sexual abuse. We endured a lot as kids. It's really a shock that we are even alive today. But see, that's no excuse. What our past is no excuse to how we live today, unless, of course, we choose to make it the reason why we are the way we are today. And so we did not grow up with a lot. And usually when kids grow up in poverty, not usually, but sometimes when you grow up with that disadvantage, some of us are able to turn that into an advantage. And I remember hearing my husband the first time. He was a teenager when I met him. He was 18. I was 22. He decided when he was 8 years old that he wanted to become a millionaire. That was his decision. And why? Because he didn't like the fact that at 8 years old, he had to go make his own living. He had to pay for his own food. You know, he had to go and pull flowers off of trees and sew leis to sell to the tourists as he was living in Hawaii, on the big island of Hawaii, right there in Kona on Ali'i Drive. And he and his brother both would dive off the pier for coins. There was a number of things that they did to try to generate money just to buy food that night, and they really didn't ever wear shoes, so shoes was not an issue. But these were the kids that didn't have school supplies, they didn't have a lot of clothes, and so they had to kind of fend for themselves. And that was by the choices that his mother had made. And so same with us. I mean, my parents were on welfare, and they lived paycheck to paycheck and always fought about money. And so when I was old enough to make my own money, which I was 15 when I got my first job at a video store, I spent money just like I saw my parents spend money. I blew every single paycheck on something stupid, like records. Remember the old vinyls, right? So I remember buying my Kansas album and my Boston album and my Pat Benatar album. Can't believe that. Def Leppard and all of that, Van Halen, all that music from the 80s. I pretty much blew my check on things like music or clothes or whatever, eating out. I remember, oh man, I got my own money. I'm going to buy my own cheeseburger and onion rings and my big giant milkshake, And then I would complain that I was getting fat and I didn't know why. Anyway, so seriously, when I got my own money into my own hands, I blew it on junk food. I blew it on music. I blew it on things for my car, just silly things that really were unnecessary. And even as I got older from there, and I had started in my own business at 19, and I made some money after 6 months of failure, I spent all that I made. Now, some of it was invested, actually. I invested into my own education on how to become successful in business. I would travel all over the country every 3 to 4 weeks going to a training seminar learning from a multi-millionaire. And that worked really well. I made a lot of money really, really fast. But I spent all that I didn't spend on my business as far as reinvesting back into my education or reinvesting back into my business. I spent the rest on new suits and new clothes and a new pair of glasses and a new curling iron. And of course, I need more shoes, right? Because I'm a businesswoman now, so I have to look the part, Oh, and I need a new briefcase, and I can't just have a normal leather one. I need an eelskin briefcase, and I need the matching eelskin purse, and I need the matching eelskin wallet, and I need the matching eelskin eyeglass case. So sad. That's the first time I'm remembering that for a long time. But I did, man. I took the wonderful financial skill sets that my parents had and passed them right down to me. I did exactly what I saw them do. I spent all that I made. And I did this for a really long time. In fact, the first 10 years of making millions of dollars in business, I spent it all. One way, shape, or form, it was all gone. It was all gone. Here it was the year 2000. I think I was 30 years old. I had been diagnosed with a fatal heart condition, and the doctor said I couldn't work anymore, and I had to reduce the stress in my life. Wow. And so which meant that we were going to lose a whole lot of money every single year. And I remember looking at our finances, and my husband, started playing around in the stock market, and he lost all of our life savings in one day. It was $100,000. March 17th, I'll never forget that 8:30 a.m. phone call that we had lost everything and we owed the stock brokerage $4,000. So now we were in debt. It was about $4,500 that we were in debt. So I remember just going, well, how much do we have in savings? Nothing. Hold on a second. Wow, we've made all this money all these years, and we have a $700,000 mortgage, $100,000 in credit card and car debt. I got a $250,000 wardrobe, $250,000 worth of jewelry. We have 4 cars, 2 drivers. Yikes. Man, we had a 4-car garage just stuffed with junk and almost a 6,000 square foot house that we could sleep 35 people. And we did sleep 35 people. I mean, it's like big enough to be a bed and breakfast. And I supplied the bed, and I supplied the breakfast, lunch, and dinner to our guests that would come and stay for a weekend or a week or 2 or 3 or whatever. So that was a wake-up call, my friend. It really was. That after the 10 years of working and being in business and making pretty good money, we had nothing but debt to show for it. So you can't say that, like this woman that wrote on Facebook that, as long as we are taxed, we're always going to have debt. No, because I'm being taxed more now due to the last couple of presidencies that have come into play over the last 14 years. But anyway, I'm getting taxed more as a businesswoman today, but I'm in far less debt than I was 14 years ago. When we had less tax issues 14 years ago, I had so much more debt, and that debt wasn't because of the taxes. That debt was because of what? My stupidity. Oh, come on, the dream house that I wanted that I really couldn't afford. But the mortgage guy told me I could afford it, right? That's how it happens. I remember the second home that we were going to buy, the first home I bought by myself. I was a year after I was a homeless woman. And the second house that we were to buy, and it was about 6 years later. And I was looking around the $250,000 range, and we were living in the San Francisco Bay Area. You can't get much for $250,000, maybe another condo. And I remember the mortgage guy saying, okay, well, just, let me know what your finances are. We need to know how much you make and whatever, profits and loss on your business or whatever. And he comes back to just, you could afford $1 million home. I'm like, wow. So I'm like, only $500,000 home. But then here he kept going, why are you looking for a $500,000 home? I mean, you can afford $1 million home. You can get financed for $1 million. Like, really? Wow. Okay. We're so stupid, man. Come on, we were in our late 20s. I was in my late 20s. My husband was in his mid-20s. We're 4 years apart. And wow. So here, all it took, again, I was so stupid financially that I didn't even think about who was trying to sell me $1 million house between the mortgage broker and the real estate agent, right? Of course, they make big, giant commissions the more money and the bigger the house they sell us. So, but I didn't see that. I was such a financial fool. I didn't know the difference. I felt good about myself that I could afford $1 million home, right? That's what it was. Hans and I both were like, well, gosh, man, we're only in our 20s, and look at us now, man. We grew up on welfare. I was a former homeless woman, and shoot, I could buy $1 million home. Sign me up. Oh, my gosh, what an idiot. That was so stupid. And, of course, it didn't feel stupid at the time. I did it all. It was my dream home. Oh, my gosh, yay. But all in all, man, looking back, wow. Can't believe I bit the bait on the end of that hook. And I was a business person. Obviously not a very well-seasoned business person at the time, right? No. You know what it was? You know what my problem was, friend? I had a poverty mentality. That poverty mentality was passed down to me not only by my parents, but by friends. And let's not forget our society. Let's not forget media. Let's not forget everybody that was around me. We're all in the same poverty mentality, which means what? The more I make, the more I spend, the further in debt I go. The more I make, I spend it all and end up with nothing because who knows, man? Tomorrow might not happen, so I might as well go out with a bang. I might as well go out happy. God forbid you live to be 110 and be a burden on somebody else. This is Dani Johnson. We're going to be talking about that debt, how to annihilate it, and live a free life. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue after this.
The Dani Johnson Show, helping hundreds of thousands of people just like you make life more enjoyable and rewarding. The Dani Johnson Show.
Dani Johnson here, and you're listening to The Dani Johnson Show with tens of thousands of people just like you. People thinking about what you think about, talking about what you talk about, and needing the same products and services you need. It's a place where like-minded consumers gather, savvy business owners, marketing directors, and responsive individuals making significant buying decisions. From consumer home goods and services to business products, people just like you needing the same things you need. They shouldn't be buying your product and service or doing business with your company. I'd love to help. To find out how to advertise on this show, email info@intelerep.com. That's INFO at INTELEREP.com. Or call 251-928-9400. That's info@intelerep.com or 251-928-9400.
If you're a Christian who's paying too much for healthcare, you're going to love Medi-Share. It's a nationwide community of believers who share each other's medical bills. It's affordable. Families average around $300 a month, and it's accepted by America's largest network of health providers. Plus, the healthcare law has a special provision for Medi-Share members, so you're exempt from any tax penalties. But here's the best part. Medi-Share is based on the timeless principles found in God's Word. You never have to pay for things that go against your beliefs. Medi-Share is healthcare the way God meant it to be.
Learn how thousands of Christians can help you save on your healthcare. For your free information guide, call 855-90-BIBLE. Not available in Montana. Medishare, affordable biblical health care. Call 855-90-BIBLE. That's 855-90-BIBLE.
Dani Johnson here, and you're listening to the Dani Johnson Show with tens of thousands of people just like you. People thinking about what you think about, talking about what you talk about, and needing the same products and services you need. It's a place where like-minded consumers gather, savvy business owners, marketing directors, and responsive individuals making significant buying decisions. From consumer home goods and services to business products, people just like you needing the same things you need. They should be buying your product and service or doing business with your company. I'd love to help. To find out how to advertise on this show, email info@intelerep.com. That's info at INTELEREP.com or call 251-928-9400. That's info@intelerep.com or 251-928-9400.
Okay, if you know me at all, I don't want you spending a penny more than you have to on anything. This is one of those things. If you're a business owner and take credit cards, you're paying too much unless you're working with my friend Kevin at Prestige Merchant Solutions. He's so confident that if he can't save you money, he'll pay you $100. Listen, if you're accepting payment by credit cards, check it out. 850-200-0709. That's 850-200-0709. Kevin guarantees 5-star service. He guarantees he'll save you money, and he'll pay you $100 if he can't. No risk, right? So what are you waiting for? Call today. It's quick to change your current service, incredibly reliable, 24/7 support, and payments are processed quickly. Tell him Dani sent you. There's nothing to lose. Call 850-200-0709. 850-200-0709. Stop overpaying today.
Is God calling you to the entertainment industry? Do you want to rise for Him? Do you want to be an actor, model, singer, or dancer and shine for God? Do you think the world needs better role models? Do you want to be a star for the Most High God? Actors, models, and talent for Christ is coming to a city near you. A new generation of Christian performers is rising. Call 800-STAR-420 or go to amtcaudition.com. God gave you talent for a reason, and that is to shine for Him. So we are searching for actors, models, singers, and dancers. Go to amtcaudition.com to find out when and where the next free audition will be held. Entertainment is the best opportunity for Christians to change the world, and the time is now. Are you ready for that call? 800-STAR-420 or go to amtcaudition.com. That's actors, models, and talent for Christ. Register for your audition today.
Helping you get a grip on your priorities and your focus. The Dani Johnson Show. Here's Dani Johnson.
There's lots of statistics. That sounded great. Statistics. Talk a little slower, Dani Johnson. There's many stats that talk about nations and their debt. Check this out. Career Builder estimates that 6 out of 10 Americans live paycheck to paycheck. That used to be us. Of that number, another 40% rely on their credit cards. They live on their credit cards for their basic living expenses. Is that you? Are you doing that? Are you living off of your credit cards for your basic living expenses? Have you ever asked yourself why? Oh, I'm not talking about the lie that wants to come out of your mouth that's in the form of an excuse or a reason. But have you ever sat down and analyzed, why am I using my credit cards for my basic living expenses? Am I living above my needs or my means? Do I need all that I am paying for? Do I really need to spend $500 a month on food? Do I really need to have this new car that requires full coverage insurance, which is more expensive than basic liability insurance? Check this out. 69% of Americans carry some type of debt every single month. Did you hear me? 69%. That was not the case 50 years ago. No way. It was an embarrassment to go into debt. It was an embarrassment. And when a family went in debt, Mom and Dad went and took extra jobs and found extra things to do to make money to pay it off really, really fast. People didn't go into debt to buy cars. They saved for years the cash so they could buy a car. And they didn't go into debt for houses either. They saved for years, or they lived with their parents for years in order to save the money to build their own home. But today we've been offered credit cards, lines of credit, loans, mortgages, credit cards that come from, I don't know, every kind of department store that you can imagine. There always seems to be finding ways to get more of our money that we haven't even made yet. Kind of a scary thing, don't you think? So, being in debt 50, 60 years ago was a shameful thing. But today, people pull out that Visa, MasterCard, American Express, or whatever the name is on the outside of that card, almost with pride. Almost with, I am important because I have a credit card. Wow. Isn't that wild? So, how do you feel about debt? Do you feel like debt is a normal part of life? Is it something that you've just accepted and something that you are teaching your kids to go into? 844-200-3264 is my number. Again, that's 844-200-3264. Have you accepted it as a way of life? What is the reason why you are in debt? Call me and let's talk about it, and let's really come up with solid answers and truth that kind of exposes the marketing lie of debt that it's going to make your life easier. Is that the truth? Has it made your life easier? Has it made it harder? 844-200-3264. Are you living paycheck to paycheck? Tell me why. And are you looking for a solution to not live paycheck to paycheck any longer? If you want help, you want solutions, call right now, 844-200-3264. I'll be taking your call in exactly 5 minutes. So 844-200-3264. Our lines are going to get slammed shut. There's no question in my mind. So make sure that you call in now, and make sure that if you get that voicemail, leave us your message. Tell us your comment about answering any one of the questions that I just gave you and how you feel about that debt. 844-200-3264. And here's why. Because I believe that there's somebody listening right now to this program, and you sharing how you feel about debt, how you got yourself into debt, and maybe even how you're getting yourself out might help some teenager not fill out that credit card app. Might help somebody make a new decision about their finances. You could actually change an entire generation if you're willing to humble yourself and share the truth about your debt. Do you really feel like it's a good idea to have the credit cards? Do you feel it is wise? Do you wish that you had never filled out that first credit card application? 844-200-3264. Do you have regret that you said yes to a Visa card? 844-200-3264. It's an important thing to evaluate. Did you buy a bigger house than you needed? 844-200-3264. Do you wish you had a little bit of wisdom? I just shared with you that, hey, all it took was a real estate agent and a mortgage broker to say, hey, you guys make a lot of money, man. You guys could buy $1 million home. That's not exactly how they said it. They were from California, so you just got to picture the California accent with that. But I feel like the idiot that said, oh, wow, I'm so successful. Wow, I can't wait to show this to my friends. Ooh, I can't wait for my family to see my $1 million home. Then they'll know I'm successful. Then they came to borrow money. They were jealous and they wanted my cash. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more right after this.
Don't just stand there. Soak this up. It's joy, it's encouragement, it's insight to a better life and how to meet your obligations and overcome obstacles.
The Dani Johnson Show.
Okay, if you know me at all, I don't want you spending a penny more than you have to on anything. This is one of those things. If you're a business owner and take credit cards, you're paying too much unless you're working with my friend Kevin at Prestige Merchant Solutions. He's so confident that if he can't save you money, he'll pay you $100. Listen, if you're accepting payment by credit cards, check it out. 850-200-0709. That's 850-200-0709. Kevin guarantees guarantees 5-star service. He guarantees he'll save you money, and he'll pay you $100 if he can't. No risk, right? So what are you waiting for? Call today. It's quick to change your current service, incredibly reliable, 24/7 support, and payments are processed quickly. Tell him Dani sent you. There's nothing to lose. Call 850-200-0709. 850-200-0709. Stop overpaying today.
Ever wondered how to advertise on the Dani Johnson Show with tens of thousands of people just like you listening, thinking about the things you do, talking about the things you do, and needing products and services you need? Savvy business owners and marketing directors advertise on the Dani Johnson Show. Advertise your products or services on the Dani Johnson Show. Email info@intellerep.com or call 251-928-9400, 251-928-9400.
Helping you get a grip on your priorities and your focus. The Dani Johnson Show.
Here's Dani Johnson.
Are you living paycheck to paycheck? How does it feel? Do you struggle, or do you not care, or does it cause stress? Do you feel the heaviness? Do you feel darkness over you living paycheck to paycheck? Do you wonder, like, oh gosh, what if something happens? 844-200-3264. Debt is an ingenuous substitute for the chain and whip of the slave driver. That's Ambrose Bierce that said that. This quote right here about, wow, made me go, hoo, 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 what a different mindset from, over a century ago. Rather go to bed without dinner than to rise in debt. That's Benjamin Franklin that said that. Wow, what a different understanding, right? What a different view of money they had. The founding forefathers of our nation, the mind shapers of our nation. It's obvious that we have a different mindset today than what they had, because he says it's better to go to bed without dinner than it is to be in debt. Interesting, huh? All right, I'm taking your call. Over here, we've got Emily from the United Kingdom. Yes, this Dani Johnson Show is an international show. Emily, welcome to the Dani Johnson Show. Hello, Emily, are you there? Your line is open. Oh, man. Did you mute yourself? Some people do that.
Hello?
There we go. Okay.
Sorry, I think there's a delay on the line. My problem is simply in not having enough work, actually.
So what are you doing every day to find more work? How many doors are you knocking on every day? How many phone calls are you making every day?
Well, I'm trying to. I've been trying to advertise my business, but I've been trying to speak to. I'm speaking to loads of people. A lot of people are just really not interested, or I'm just finding it harder to. I think a lot of people have been away, and I've had. That's really affected my business. And it's been really, really hard just to build momentum, I suppose.
Well, honey, it might be time to find a job to supplement your business income. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. Hire a boss to cover your monthly expenses. Build your business on the side and let it be all bonus money that you can use to annihilate debt, that you can use to go on a vacation, that you can use to plan for your future retirement. So get the business built up when it is not a desperate thing for you to do. And as well as use the employeepreneur skills that we teach in that book. I don't know if this is your first time listening to the show, but if you don't have the gift of First Steps to Wealth, it's a book. It'll show you how I built a business from the trunk of my car in a payphone booth, and how I had to learn how to handle the objections of the people that were away or didn't have the money or whatever, and also how to pay off all of my debt. So that's called First Steps to Wealth. I don't know if you have that. You're in the UK. You got to cover the shipping to get the free book to your house, but we'll send you the $15 book for free. If this is your first time listening to the show, that's our gift to you. So let me give you the phone number on how to get that. 866-760-8255. Again, that's 866-760-8255. Again, if you're a first time listener to the show, we got a free gift for you. It's going to show you how to pay off all of your debt. It's going to show you how to get customers. It's going to show you how to talk to people in such a way that's going to get you jobs. And by the way, in that job, how do you act like an entrepreneur in there and help it to grow and practice those entrepreneurial skills so that when you do build your business, whether that is a few hours in the evening or a few hours in the morning or on the weekend, however which way that you're building it, I'm assuming it's something that you're doing online, then and only then you will be able to make more money and replace your full-time income or not. You might decide to keep both incomes. I'm a firm believer that 2 incomes is better than 1, no question. Anyway, but you cannot be a victim of circumstances. You got to solve this problem. And I would hire a boss if I were you and get the job done. All right, this is Dani Johnson. We're taking your call about why are you in debt? Why are you living paycheck to paycheck? There's no reason to live like that. You are the owner of your own finances. You're the owner of your own time. You are the one who makes your own decisions, choices you make every single day. And so you can choose not to be in debt. That is truly your choice. We got Monique from Washington, D.C. Welcome to the Dani Johnson Show.
Hi, Dani. How are you?
Great. Thanks for being here. What's your comment about today?
Just completely agree with you that debt is not a normal thing. I happened to get out of debt early, when I was much younger, and then got back into debt, investing in myself. And so, unfortunately, I lost my job when I was trying to pay off that debt. So now I'm trying to build a business part-time and go to school full-time at the same time. So my issue right now is how do you build a part-time job, with no time. So it's kind of difficult.
Well, I have a young guy, Monique, that was going to college full time, and after he came to First Steps to Success, just like the one we're having in Cincinnati, Ohio, which is driving distance for you, by the way. After he tapped into First Steps many times, this is what he figured out. He decided debt is not an option for me, and so prior to First Steps, he had student loans investing into his education. So he had a full-time. He's a full-time student. He worked part-time at a grocery store, and do you know what this kid managed to do? He managed to pay off all of his student loan debt while he was working part-time at a grocery store and pay for his education. Do you hear what I'm saying? So he came out of that training and he just said, forget it. Why am I going into debt to pay for college? I'm going to pay off the debt I've already incurred for the years I've had in college, and I'm going to pay cash moving forward for that. He was only working part-time at a grocery store. So it really is about how serious are you and what are you willing to live without? What are you willing to sacrifice? You see, the first thing that we do, unfortunately, in our current society, Monique, is that we won't live without. We won't. We want to keep up all of our habits that we had when we had the full-time income, right? We want to keep all of those luxuries. We want to keep all of those foods and eating out and buying clothes still. We keep up all the habits that we had when we had money. And then when we don't have as much money, we still keep spending. You can't. What sacrifices are you willing to make? That's the question you got to ask yourself. How serious are you about getting out of debt? How serious are you about not going further into debt? Those are only questions you can answer. That's up to you. And you do have a choice. You do, because if that 19-year-old kid managed to pay off his student loans while he was going to college, then girlfriend, so can you. No question. We've got Joyce from Knoxville, Tennessee. Welcome to the Dani Johnson Show.
Hi, Dani. This is Joyce. I had cancer and survived. Then shortly after, my husband died, and I lost my job due to downsizing. My house was paid off, and I never charged more than my credit card that I could pay off that month. I decided to relocate to my hometown and to continue the small business that I'd started, and I was doing pretty well at it. I bought a house, and 6 days later found out I had cancer again. This time, they gave me less than a year. God had other plans, obviously, because it's been 2.5. However, I don't have the stamina and energy to keep my business to the previous level it was.
Yeah.
But I'm still working it as I can. God's always been true in His care for me, and though my insurance has to be the world's worst plan, I've been able to be making payments, and there's a lot of them, through God's provision.
Yes.
And as I was finally getting better, I fell and broke my arm and my leg. If it weren't for bad luck, I'd have no luck at all.
Wow.
Living on widow's benefits is extremely tight.
Yeah.
So how can I do any better than I'm doing now?
Wow.
When I have such a small amount left over at the end of, 2 days after I get my check, especially with things like car repairs or doctor bills, etc. I have gone to the extent that I have even got a cat and got rid of my bug service, and I take my own garbage to the dump.
Wow. Now that is a mouthful of a sob story. Hardcore. My gosh, Joyce, you've been through hell.
I'm blessed.
Look at you, and look at you rejoicing and saying that the Lord is providing for you. That is just incredible, man, your maturity and your character, but I think I might be able to help you even so. Wow, first of all, I'm so sorry. I could not imagine having to suffer through cancer, not once but twice, and in the middle of the battle to lose your husband, and on top of it to fall down and break 2 limbs. Jeezy peasy. And then to rise up and say, I am blessed. Woman, you're amazing. You inspired me just now. I'm telling you right now. None of us have an excuse. None of us. Whew. So, those who are listening right now, I'm like, yeah, Dani, how do you handle that one, huh? Yeah, she's got it pretty bad. I mean, what do you do about that? I'm about to tell you. We're going to continue right after this, after the short break. I'm going to see what I can do to help Joyce.
Life! It's about the journey. Are you living the life you want to live?
Is it going the way you want it to go?
Don't live your life by default. Live by going the way you want to go. Dani can help you with your roadmap to life. The Dani Johnson Show.
Is God calling you to the entertainment industry? Do you want to rise for Him? Do you want to be an actor, model, singer, or dancer and shine for God? Do you think the world needs better role models? Do you want to be a star for the Most High God? Actors, models, and talent for Christ is coming to a city near you. A new generation of Christian performers is rising. Call 800-STAR-420 or go to amtcaudition.com. God gave you talent for a reason, and that is to shine for Him. So we are searching for actors, models, singers, and dancers. Go to amtcaudition.com to find out when and where the next free audition will be held. Entertainment is the best opportunity for Christians to change the world, and the time is now. Are you ready for that call? 800-STAR-420 or go to amtcaudition.com. That's actors, models, and talent for Christ. Register for your audition today.
With all the changes happening in healthcare, Christians want to know, is there any option that's God-honoring, affordable, and acceptable under the law? The answer is Medishare. It's not insurance. It's a nationwide community of believers who share each other's medical bills. Unlike individual insurance plans, which are now required to cover the morning after pill, your healthcare dollars never pay for things that go against your beliefs. There's no enrollment period, so you could sign up anytime. You choose your doctors from America's largest provider network. And yes, it's affordable. Family options average around $300 a month. Medishare is healthcare Christians can believe in.
Learn how thousands of Christians can help you save on your health care. For your free information guide, call 855-90-BIBLE. Not available in Montana. Medishare, affordable biblical health care. Call 855-90-BIBLE. That's 855-90-BIBLE.
Helping you get a grip on your priorities and your focus. The Dani Johnson Show.
Here's Dani Johnson.
Sometimes life just stinks, right? Sometimes it just does, right? I mean, it's a storm, and then things get worse. That's what we just heard from Joyce. Battled cancer not once but twice. In between the first and second battle, her husband dies. After the second battle, she breaks an arm and a leg. They only gave her a year to live. It's been 2.5. I mean, wow, zero, woo. She's taken her own trash to the dump, and yet she still has an incredibly positive attitude. Joyce, I've got some questions for you, but I want to read you something. First of all, because you mentioned God, I want to say this. Luke 16:10 says this. It says, one who is faithful in very little is also faithful in much. And one who is dishonest in a very little will also be dishonest in much. The rich rules over the poor, and the borrower is the slave to the lender. That's Proverbs 22:7. And Proverbs 21:20 says, precious treasure and oil are in the wise man's dwelling, but the foolish man devours it all. Now, you are going through hell, and yet you're still rejoicing, and that's amazing. But here's something that I would be looking at. You're saying, what more can I do? Is your food budget around $20 per person per week of your household?
It's just me, and it is a little bit more than that sometimes if I can afford it.
That's the issue, is if you can't afford it.
I can get pickle relish on my hot dog, and that's just not just a hot dog.
Okay, so $20 per person per week, if it's just you, $20 a week. Now, where do you live in Knoxville, Tennessee? Groceries are rather cheap in Knoxville, Tennessee. Been there. I went to the grocery store there.
No, they're not.
Oh, I've been there, and I shopped there for Secret Millionaire, actually. That right there in Knoxville, Tennessee is where I was. So I know what I can buy on very little in Knoxville, Tennessee. Because remember, there was a camera on me in the grocery store that gave me $30, and I had a whole bunch of money left over, is what it was. I didn't even spend the $30, and that included having to buy bottled water because I won't drink that junk out of the tap. And you should have seen that apartment. Oh my gosh, it was disgusting. But if your food bill is $20 per week, you're doing good. You're being wise with the food. That's one area. Now, a cat is not cheap. And so we have to ask ourselves.
It's cheaper than a bug business. If I have bugs, being in the South, you have bugs, and if you have a cat, the cat would take care of them.
I don't know how much you're feeding your cat. I don't know if you have cat litter. I don't know if you have the flea collar. I don't know about any of that. But here's one thing I'm going to tell you that a lot of Americans have chosen to do. They have expenses with pets. And some people have a lot of expenses with pets. And I think it's awesome that you found a way to not have bug service, I think is what you're saying. You're saying bug business, but I'm assuming you mean bug service. But I would be looking back through your finances. First of all, Joyce, I can tell you're defending your finances. And if we're going to defend our finances, we're not going to find a solution. There's no help. But if you're willing to not defend your finances, you're not willing to defend your actions or justify your actions, and you can actually look through, you would be amazed what you can find. And I know you trust your God, and I've heard you say you rejoice even in the midst of all of this disaster and pain. And you don't have the stamina to build business the way that you did before. Of course you don't have stamina to do that. Of course not. I wouldn't be trying to stress myself out about that stamina, but I would just be doing what I can do with the time that I have and not striving and trying to push myself to do more, when the reality is your body needs time to recover. Your emotions need time to heal between the 2 cancer battles and the loss of your husband and moving. It's expensive to move. It's not cheap to move. And so you also might want to look at, should I sell my house? Do I really need a house? Because owning a house actually has more expenses than renting a house. We often can rent a house, in most cases, cheaper than we can in buying one. When you look at all of the expenses that are involved, depending on the kind of house that you bought, you got to look at the full picture of maintenance. For example, a bug service that some houses they will pay for because they don't want the bugs eating out their house. So I'd be looking at that. Do you have a roommate? Can't you rent out a room in your house? That actually brings in a few extra $100 a month. So I know you can live very, very cheap in Knoxville, Tennessee. I've done the research in that specific area.
which is kind of funny and ironic. But anyway, that would be my recommendation is, one, don't defend your finances, because if you're defending your finances, defense is a sign of not being teachable and not really looking for a solution, but you're looking to be justified and vindicated. But if the truth of your question is really coming from the place of, no, how can I? Dani, how can I improve my finances? Well, then if that's the real question, then there is no defense. There is nothing but, I will look into that. Thank you for that. I will look into that. Okay, and I'll find that way. So I'd be looking at the house situation. Doesn't make sense to own, especially at your age. Does it make sense to own? What's all the extra expenses that are involved? Do I want those extra expenses? This is why so many people end up moving into condos, which I think is really smart. I really do. Like, wow, condo or an apartment, no maintenance, none of it is yours. That is a blessing and a half. So again, there's all kinds of ways to live cheaper and to have more money left over at the end of the month. It's just that most people won't weigh their ego with their bank account and figure out which one weighs more. They won't weigh their ego with their goal and go, you know what? Why am I holding on to that? That's so stupid. It's not necessary. Same thing, man. Today we got all these cell phones that are far more expensive than a landline in the house. And especially somebody in your situation, I mean, I'm sure that you're at a low income. So on a low income, you should be able to get a low income phone from the phone company that'll cost you peanuts. But again, we've grown accustomed to having a cell phone, but I'm only paying $30 a month. Yeah, plus your landline. You got to look at these things. We've grown accustomed to things that are expensive, that we say are needs and necessities, our gotta-haves. And those gotta-haves and needs and necessities are making us broke and bringing us pain and bringing us in debt. This is Dani Johnson. I'm taking your call about finances and solutions, man, to live a simpler life. Here's another place. Why do you have a storage unit? Why do you have a storage unit? Listen, if you're not financially independent and you're not debt-free, you might want to sell everything in the storage unit and stop paying that monthly bill. You're not missing anything that's in the storage unit, but that just goes to show you we needed, I had to have, and now you're hiding it someplace and it has no value to you. Get rid of it. Sell what you can sell. Live a simpler life. You'll feel so much better as you declutter your life. 844-200-3264 is my number. Again, that's 844-200-3264. You want to argue with me about your finances? Go ahead, call me. You can argue with me. Trust me, I've been there. Oh boy. We all, whenever our junk is put in the spotlight, we want to defend ourselves. We're all that way. It sucks. It's terrible. But if we're really hungry for solutions, then we're really going to do what we can to make appropriate choices and be wise so that we can move our lives ahead. Come on, you don't want a whole life filled with struggle and pain, do you? No. So you got to make good choices today. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more after this.
The Dani Johnson Show. In a world of broken promises, we're here to help you through life. The Dani Johnson Show. No excuses, no blaming, just real life. Stay tuned for more of The Dani Johnson Show.
Radio talk show host Dani Johnson in Kadwa, Haiti.
Hi, I'm Dani Johnson, and I'm here with Fida in her tiny little home. This home is the size of many people's closets in the United States of America. Now, we're sitting on a bed, just a piece of sheet or plastic that these beautiful babies sleep on. They have nothing. This family has nothing. No water, no food, nothing. Won't you do something? The Bible says that if you ignore the cry of the poor, then you too will cry and be ignored. They're not asking for nice clothes. They're asking for food. That's it. Food, water. You can help. We want to build her a home. We want to bring water, clean, fresh water here. But we can't do it alone. We need you.
Help us radically change a community. Go to kingsransom.org to make your donation to Kadwa, Haiti. That's kingsransom.org.
My My name is Dani Johnson, and 23 years ago, I was homeless, living out of my car, alone, totally broke, and desperate. I was ready to end it all. Today, I'm a multi-millionaire with a passion for helping you get ahead in your career, your business, and your relationships. I'm tired of seeing families struggle financially, consumed with debt, robbing their lives of any joy as well as a future. So I'd like to give the first 10 callers a free copy of our latest bestseller, First Steps to Wealth. Call now, 844-200-DANI. That's 844-200-3264. 844-200-DANI. Or visit firststepstowealth.com. That website again is firststepstowealth.com. It's time to end the insanity called life and start living it the way you've always wanted to. Get a copy of First Steps to Wealth right now.
The Dani Johnson Show is here to help you.
We want to see your economy thrive.
Helping you focus and set your priorities.
And you can do this by learning the skill sets, the strategies, and the mindsets of 2% of the population.
The Dani Johnson Show.
Listen closely.
What are your weaknesses? What are your greatest strengths? And what are your weaknesses?
Learn how to make the most out of your strengths in this life and how to grow in the direction that is best for you and your family. This is The Dani Johnson Show.
Money is so tight, Dani, I will never get out of debt. I've always struggled financially, and that's always how it's going to be. Friend, if that is you, you've got to change the way you think, and you've got to change the way you speak. Hi, I'm Dani Johnson. Welcome to the second hour of the Dani Johnson Show. We're talking about ways to get out of debt. We're talking about what it is that is hindering you to stay in debt. What is the roadblock? Are you living paycheck to paycheck? Do you like that lifestyle? Is it worth it? Is that lifestyle work? Is the pain of wondering if you're going to have enough money left over at the end of the month, right? Or the end of that pay period, is it worth it? Do you like what that pressure feels like? I'm sure the answer is no. Then if the answer is no, then you're going to have to make other choices. And you really have to look at every place that the money is going and decide, is it really worth it? 844-200-3264 is the number if you would like help and some advice in how to annihilate your debt in 5 to 7 years. All of it, friend, all of your debt in the next 5 to 7 years. It is possible. And by the way, you're not alone. You're not the only one in debt. There are millions of people who are in debt. It has become almost a cultural habit. Straight across the board. In fact, it is. It absolutely is. I mean, look at this. 69% of Americans carry some kind of debt every single month. That's a huge percentage of people. Every month they're carrying some kind of debt. That's almost 70%. 7 out of 10 people. Wow. Wow. That's a huge number. You think about that. That's absolutely crazy to me. So anyway, we're taking your call about your finances. If you need help, 844-200-3264. 844-200-3264. Or if you'd like to share how you have made some financial changes and how you have improved your financial situation, we'd love to hear that too. I want to hear about the pain of the debt that you've been suffering through, so that you could share it with other people and they don't make the same mistake you made. So if you can humble yourself, pick up the phone right now, 844-200-3264. You're going to help somebody today. All right, I've got Louisa from Houston, Texas. Welcome to the Dani Johnson Show.
Hi, Dani. How are you?
Great. Go ahead.
Okay. The question that I had, and more of probably, I like to get some helpful tools, and I know you have the books, which I haven't gotten, and I've seen lots of testimonies on your Facebook page. But growing up, as a foster child, transition into that and not having much of a stable home life and much of the education from either my mother or my foster parents, I feel like I was, kind of cheated in a way because I was never taught the economics. You know what I mean, from home. And
yeah.
Now that
Louisa, I'm going to stop you right here, honey. I'm just going to stop this conversation right here because I got something to say to you about what you just said. Louisa, I was raised on welfare.
I was emotionally abused, mentally abused, verbally abused, physically abused, picked up by the throat, shoved up against walls to be cussed out by a man that was 6'10" to 350 pounds. I was molested from the time I was 3 until I was 16 years old. So what's my excuse for being a multi-millionaire today?
None.
Exactly. You cannot use your foster child upbringing as an excuse for being broke or being in debt. Number one. It does not matter how you were cheated as a kid. You're cheating yourself right now. You've heard about a book and you've seen testimonies about the book and you've heard about people paying off their debt and you still haven't got the book in your hands? Give me a break, Louisa. Yeah. Do you want to continue for the next 20 years of your life blaming the foster child upbringing you had? There are plenty of people who've been raised like you and me who are financially independent today. It doesn't matter. Quit raising the dead of the failing past that you have. Write the phone number down right now. Or you have a pen and paper in your hand?
Yes, give me just 1 second.
You're going to pick up the phone after you hang up with me, and you're going to call my office, and you're going to get your copy. It's free. There's no excuse. 866.
Okay, I'm ready.
866 760 8255. 866-760-8255. You tell them that you just talked to me and that I told you to get the copy of First Steps to Wealth. If you want the physical copy, Louisa, if you're one of those people that likes to dog ear, highlight, write in the margin, then you get your physical copy. Okay. You pay the shipping, I'll pay for the book, okay? You pay the shipping to get it to your house. Okay. If you don't care about doing that, then you can get the ebook and try to read it on a screen somewhere. That ain't my preference, but if it's yours, that's fine. That's absolutely free. There's no excuse. And Louisa, I want you to treat that book as though I wrote you a personal letter and I'm showing you exactly step by step how to walk away from your past that you are allowing to haunt you. Say no to that. And it's time to break the chains of whatever you were not taught. None of us were. Here's the facts. 14,000 hours of school that you and I went through between kindergarten and 12th grade. There was not a single class teaching kids like you and me how not to go into debt. There wasn't a single class teaching us how to be a business person. There was not a single class teaching us how not to spend money, but instead save it and then learn to become an investor. Not a single class taught us that. So let me ask you this. 98% of the population's dead or dead broke at the age of 65, girlfriend. 98%! They're dependent on their family, friends, and federal government for their main source of income. 98%! So that includes kids like you and me, and that also includes those Leave It to Beaver kids. Those kids that grew up in the wonderful Christian home, went to youth group every Wednesday, had Bible study on Sunday afternoon, went to church. They went to church camp, they went to college, and then they went to university. They got their PhD and they're flat broke. Give me a break.
Yeah.
Give me a break. Yes. So the kids that you used to look at the schoolyard where they had the nice new clothes, they're broke. When you're driving through the neighborhoods when you were a kid and you had to drive through the nice neighborhoods to get to the grocery store, trust me, their families are just as broke as your family was. Don't make a difference, honey. Yeah. What matters is what you do today with what you got. And you make the best out of it. All of us have to stop blaming our parents for the screw-ups they had and our grandparents for the screw-ups they had. We have to stop blaming our government for taxing us too much. We have got to take personal responsibility for our personal finances and make changes today. The foster parents are not going to come and pay off your debt. They ain't going to do it. Your mom ain't going to pay off your debt. And by the way, they didn't put you in debt. You did.
Right, I did.
You did. So you got to stop doing that action. And you got to start paying attention and following directions. And the directions are inside of that book. You got no excuse. You got no excuse. So, girlfriend, I'm going to hear from you. I want to see you face to face one day. And I'm going to hear a story, a testimony out of you. In fact, I got to read this to you. Here is Adele Marie Montez. As she said, prior to First Steps to Success, just like the one we have coming up in Cincinnati, she had lost her job. She had lost all of her money. They were living paycheck to paycheck, going further in debt every single month. She applied War on Debt, which is in the book, by the way. They paid off $24,600 worth of debt in 6 months, while feeding 150 orphans and 50 homeless people. They put money into helping other people. Okay, they also use their influence and what they learned in War on Debt to get others to help take care of the orphan to the tune of $38,000 that they raised, taking care of other kids, Louisa, that grew up worse than we did. Those kids have no mother and father. Those kids are eating out of dumpsters. They put a focus on taking care of the real poor instead of crying po, and they focused on paying off their debt. $24,600 in 6 months. Come on, girlfriend. You can do this.
Wow.
Quit looking backwards.
I will.
All right. I'm going to hear from you, young lady. No more of this.
Yes, you will. Yes, you will.
All right. All right. I'm proud of you for calling in. I'm proud of you. I really, really am. Good job. Okay, you call that number right now. Goodbye. Call the number right now. Get your book now. All right. We got Sarah from Mount Vernon, Washington. Sarah, welcome to the Dani Johnson Show.
Thank you. Yay. So, Dani, I'm so excited to talk to you. We saw you, me and my husband, in LA, and
for First Steps to Success.
First Steps to Success.
Awesome.
And I just we still haven't paid off all our debt. I feel like we're not on the same page. Like I feel like we're antagonistic toward each other as far as he's the spender and I'm the saver, and or I just want to like knock down debt, and he's expecting that we'll just be making so much money that we'll just pay it all off at one, when we arrive there.
Mm-hmm. So Sarah, you're using your husband as an excuse for you not to pay off debt?
Yeah.
Sarah, are you wearing a belt right now?
No.
Can you go into your closet and get one and beat yourself? Girl, if you were in Long Beach, I started that session about not using your spouse as an excuse to pay off debt. I told a story about Joanne Harvey from Redding, California, who she heard War on Debt years past, and when she heard it, she made the decision to secretly pay off debt without her husband even knowing. And she got up and gave a testimony at First Steps to Success, and she had the microphone in her hand. Her husband, I was looking at, his name is Rick, he was perplexed, going, why is she standing up there as a debt testimonial? We haven't paid off any debt. And she gets the microphone and she says, my husband does not know this, but I learned this system that Dani is teaching, War on Debt, a few years ago. And honey, we've paid off $20,000 worth of debt. And those 2 cars that we bought, we paid cash for those, including the vacations we've been on. All of them we've paid cash for. We have not only not gone further in debt, honey, but we've paid off $20,000 worth of debt. That man looked like he won the lottery. He bawled. He turned beet red. His hands flew up in the air. He took his hands and then put them on his face and just bawled like a baby. What a gift that wife gave to her husband. Rather than nagging, she took action. You make the decision, Sarah. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue after this.
Hey, have you done a favor for your best friend yet? Then do it now. Share this program with them. The Dani Johnson Show, helping people just like you make life more enjoyable and rewarding. The Dani Johnson Show.
Okay, if you know me at all, I don't want you spending a penny more than you have to on anything. This is one of those things. If you're a business owner and take credit cards, you're paying too much unless you're working with my friend Kevin at Prestige Merchant Solutions. He's so confident that if he can't save you money, he'll pay you $100. Listen, if you're accepting payment by credit cards, check it out. 850-200-0709. That's 850-200-0709. Kevin guarantees 5-star service. He guarantees he'll save you money, and he'll pay you $100 if he can't. No risk, right? So what are you waiting for? Call today. It's quick to change your current service, incredible incredibly reliable, 24/7 support, and payments are processed quickly. Tell him Dani sent you. There's nothing to lose. Call 850-200-0709. 850-200-0709. Stop overpaying today. Dani Johnson here, and you're listening to The Dani Johnson Show with tens of thousands of people just like you. People thinking about what you think about, talking about what you talk about, and needing the same products and services you need. It's a place where like-minded consumers gather, savvy business owners, marketing directors, and responsive individuals making significant buying decisions. From consumer home goods and services to business products, people just like you needing the same things you need. They shouldn't be buying your product and service or doing business with your company. I'd love to help. To find out how to advertise on this show, email info@intelerep.com. That's INFO at INTELEREP.com. Or call 251-928-9400. That's info@intelerep.com or 251-928-9400. Is God calling you to the entertainment industry? Do you want to rise for Him? Do you want to be an actor, model, singer, or dancer and shine for God? Do you think the world needs better role models? Do you want to be a star for the Most High God? Actors, models, and talent for Christ is coming to a city near you. A new generation of Christian performers is rising. Call 800-STAR-420 or go to amtcaudition.com. God gave you talent for a reason, and that is to shine for Him. So we are searching for actors, models, singers, and dancers. Go to amtcaudition.com to find out when and where the next free audition will be held. Entertainment is the best opportunity for Christians to change the world, and the time is now. Are you ready for that call? 800-STAR-420 or go to amtcaudition.com. That's actors, models, and talent for Christ. Register for your audition today.
If you're a Christian who's paying too much for healthcare, you're going to love Medishare. It's a nationwide community of believers who share each other's medical bills. It's affordable. Families average around $300 a month, and it's accepted by America's largest network of health providers. Plus, the healthcare law has a special provision for Medishare members, so you're exempt from any tax penalties. But here's the best part. Medishare is based on the timeless principles found in God's Word. You never have to pay for things that go against your beliefs. Medishare is healthcare the way God meant it to be.
Learn how thousands of Christians can help you save on your health care. For your free information guide, call 855-90-BIBLE. Not available in Montana. Medishare, affordable biblical health care. Call 855-90-BIBLE. That's 855-90-BIBLE.
Radio talk show host Dani Johnson in Kadwa, Haiti.
Hi, I'm Dani Johnson, and I'm here with Vida in her tiny little home. This home is the size of many people's closets in the United States of America. Now, we're sitting on a bed, just a piece of sheet or plastic that these beautiful babies sleep on. They have nothing. This family has nothing. No water, no food, nothing. Won't you do something? The Bible says that if you ignore the cry of the poor, then you too will cry and be ignored. They're not asking for nice clothes. They're asking for food. That's it. Food, water. You can help. We want to build her a home. We want to bring water, clean, fresh water here. But we can't do it alone. We need you.
Help us radically change a community. Go to kingsransom.org to make your donation to Kadwa, Haiti. That's kingsransom.org.
Now, more of the Dani Johnson Show.
It's so easy to put the blame on somebody else, isn't it? It really is. It's so stinking easy for us to blame our wife that spends too much or our husband that spends too much, right? My husband's a spender, Dani, and I'm a saver. It almost sounds like I'm the savior and he's the sinner. No, I can't tell you how many women, man, have used their husbands as excuses. But here's the bottom line, honey. You spend money. You spend money. Yes, so does he. That's not your problem. My husband spends far more money than I do. Oh my gosh, it's ridiculous. However,
I'm going to do my part. I'm going to do my part in the saving of the money. I'm going to do my part by what I don't spend. I'm going to do my part in making sure that my bank account grows every month based on what I don't spend. Because if I'm going to spend like him, there's going to be much less in the account. You cannot expect your spouse to have your conviction. If you're the saver and he is or she is the spender, then your job in the marriage is to save. That's your job. And if you're the one with the conviction to spend less money on food, to spend less money on pleasures, to be wiser financially and take the money that's being wasted in dumb places and put it towards paying off your debt, then that's your job. That's your conviction. You are not going to nag your wife and get somewhere. You're not going to nag your husband and get somewhere positive. Nagging never results in something good. But taking positive, appropriate steps will result in something good. And here's what I've watched. I've watched as one of the spouses took the appropriate steps in the right direction. As they have done that, and they've gotten results without nagging. Once the other spouse sees that you're committed and that you're getting results, they eventually come to the table. And then, yes, when the husband and wife can come together and attack it together, of course it's going to go faster. But I've also seen in rare cases where the two never agree on that. They never do. And the reason why they don't is because he or she will not stop nagging. You point out the sin or the unrighteousness or whatever you want to call their spending habits, all you're going to get is them spending more. That's all you're going to get. You keep pointing out where they're failing financially, they are going to fail more. If you want results, you've got to encourage people in the direction you want them to go, not point out the direction that they're going wrong. And you lead by example, friend. Quit digging a hole for the marriage by pointing out where they're failing. Encourage them by your actions, by how much you are, and don't rub it in their face. Well, I saved X amount of dollars last month. What did you do? That's still a nag. You got your job, they've got theirs. Trust me, you're enough of a mess to just focus on cleaning your own mess. I'm enough of a mess. I can't even begin to look at the sins of my husband. Oh my gosh. I'm already too busy trying to clean up my own sins. I'm already too busy trying to change my bad habits I got. I'm a mess. Thank God I have Jesus. Oy, oy, oy. I'd be dead. So, focus on you and what you can do. Focus on the decisions you're going to make. Focus on what you're going to fix for you. Leave the other person alone. Give him a break, man. Come on. Judge not, lest you be judged in the very same way. Your day is coming. Your day is coming. So either you can be a hero in this equation of paying off debt, just as Joanne Harvey was, right? She's the woman who secretly paid off $20,000 worth of debt. And the 2 cars that they bought, he thought they went into debt for. She paid cash. The trips and the vacations they went on, he thought they went into debt for that. She paid cash for all of them. Come on, don't you want to have that day where you get to bless your spouse? Whether it is you're the husband and you're secretly paying off the debt, and you bless your wife and you say, honey, we've done this. What a blessing. She served you. She's worked hard for that family. As a stay-at-home parent, she's worked her tail off to what? Bring those meals, take care of those kids, groom the kids for success. And if you're the one, your husband is the one who's provided, the least you can do is help him pay off the debt. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more right after this.
Working to achieve happiness in life is not easy. Advice, life stories from callers on the air, solutions, a beacon of hope. Stay tuned for more of The Dani Johnson Show.
radio talk show host Dani Johnson in Kadwa, Haiti.
Hi, I'm Dani Johnson, and I'm here with Vida in her tiny little home. This home is the size of many people's closets in the United States of America. Now, we're sitting on a bed, just a piece of sheet or plastic that these beautiful babies sleep on. They have nothing. This family has nothing. No water, no food, nothing. Won't you do something? The Bible says that if you ignore the cry of the poor, then you too will cry and be ignored. They're not asking for nice clothes. They're asking for food. That's it. Food, water. You can help. We want to build her a home. We want to bring water, clean, fresh water here. But we can't do it alone. We need you.
Help us radically change a community. Go to kingsransom.org to make your donation to Kadwa, Haiti. That's kingsransom.org.
Ever wondered how to advertise on the Dani Johnson Show with tens of thousands of people just like you listening, thinking about the things you do, talking about the things you do, and needing products and services you need? Savvy business owners and marketing directors advertise on the Dani Johnson Show. Advertise your products or services on the Dani Johnson Show. Email info@intellerep.com or call 251-928-9400. 251-928-9400.
Improving the quality of your life. The Dani Johnson Show.
I love it. Dani Johnson here. We're talking about your finances. I know right now you might be saying, Dani, I'm just sick and tired of living paycheck to paycheck. Then stop. What? Then stop. Stop living paycheck to paycheck. That's your choice. No, it ain't. My boss ain't paying me enough. In fact, here was this statement by somebody. I thought it was interesting. She says, yeah, I'm in debt because there is not enough. I live paycheck to paycheck because there's not enough office jobs that pay enough. And if they do exist, they require a bachelor's degree. Now, why would I get a degree in something I've been doing for 10 to 15 years and wind up with student loans? It is a ridiculous cycle. It is your choice not to advance your skill set. It is your choice not to learn what you have to learn to become more valuable in the workplace. Yes. Come on now. Haven't you read the book, First Steps to Wealth? Haven't you read the 2 chapters on employeepreneur that will show you strategically how to get raises and how to get bonuses? Yes, even if all you have is an office job. How can you raise your value in the marketplace? You might be thinking it's just showing up on time and leaving on time. You might be thinking it's just the task that you're supposed to do that they put in front of you. It's so much more than that. And I'll tell you what, that sourpuss attitude you got, I wouldn't want to pay you more either. People with great attitudes get raises and promotions and bonuses. They do. People with sourpuss attitudes stay stuck and stay broke and stay working, making paycheck to paycheck. Here's the other thing. Your choice is to live paycheck to paycheck, friend, based on how much you choose to spend and on what. I couldn't believe it. A few years back, right here on this show, it was hilarious. This guy calls in telling me how broke he was and that he couldn't feed his 3 dogs and he was homeless. How do you have 3 dogs and you're homeless? It costs money to feed the dogs. Really? But look at how crazy we've become. Dogs cost money. They do. And they take time. But somehow we feel entitled to have them, never even looking at the fact that we gotta spend $50 a month on food for one. And that's cheap dog food. That ain't no Ookanuba. Don't even get me started. Michelle from California, welcome to the Dani Johnson Show.
Hi, Dani. Well, just listening to while you were off, what you just said, it's almost answering my question. I do have your book. I haven't read it yet. I am in debt, partially because of my own fault, and then because I got married, and that added on to my debt after the divorce.
Hold on. Who made the choice to get married?
Yes, I did.
Oh, so whose fault is it for the debt? Hold it.
I know.
Who made the choice to get married? Michelle, answer the question.
I did.
You did.
I did.
And who made the choice to get a divorce?
He did.
No. You agreed somewhere down the line. You conceded and said yes. So you can't blame your debt on your husband or your ex-husband. You were involved in the decision. You were involved in the yes, I do until death do us part, in sickness and in health, in worse, in poor and for riches, good or for bad. You made the choice, therefore you took on his debt. It's our debt now, not just his debt.
Oh.
That's the first place. That's the first pill you got to swallow.
Yes.
It is what it is. Swallow the pill. It's about, it's about a foot big. It's a foot long. It'll fit, I promise. It sucks that we have to take personal responsibility for our own actions. It sucks. But you just have to accept it. This is now your debt. Swallow the pill and attack it. Now look, how long have you had the book, First Steps to Wealth, in your hands, Michelle?
Just about 3 weeks.
Michelle, are you wearing a belt right now?
No, I'm not.
You're not? Can you please go into your closet and get one? Or do you see another human around you right now? I want you to pull the belt off of them and I want you to beat yourself. You've had the answer for paying off your debt in your hands. It's in your hands.
Okay.
There's 2 whole chapters called War on Debt. The book didn't even cost you anything. The book was free. And you haven't read it yet. The answer is right in front of you. It's been sitting there saying, pick me up and read me. Follow what I tell you to do for 3 whole weeks. Pull a belt off of somebody else and start beating your own butt. It's time to stop blaming the husband. It's time to swallow, this is my debt, and I will pay it all off in the next 5 to 7 years, and I will never be a stupid financial idiot ever again in my life, and I will never go back into debt again. That's what I had to come to. I had to come to the place where I realized I got married, and that's my fault. And that marriage brought in more debt, and this is now my debt. I had to swallow that giant pill. It sucked, girlfriend. But the longer I wouldn't swallow the pill, the longer it took for me to pay off my debt. So swallow it today. Go ahead. Take a big gulp. Swallow it. I don't care if you have to chop it up in tiny little pieces. Do it. You got the answer. Go do it. You can do this. 5 to 7 years. Michelle, listen to me. 5 to 7 years. I don't care how much there is. I had a guy come to me in Australia. Check this out. Came to me in Australia. And I had just finished teaching War on Debt. And again, War on Debt is simple. A 3rd grader can follow the system of War on Debt. They can follow it. He comes up to me and he says to me, Dani, in his Australian accent, do you really think that your War on Debt system will help me pay off a large amount of debt? I said, how much debt are we talking? He says, $1.5 million. My eyes got big and I said, I don't know. Why don't you at least try? The numbers of zeros that are attached to your debt before the decimal point doesn't matter. The formula works no matter what the size is. Now, Michelle, listen to me. Simon paid off $1.5 million worth of debt in 2.5 years. And he was completely debt-free. He was a former accountant, and he had not looked through his own bank statements. He was hoping that somehow, now mind you, he was hoping somehow that his business was going to grow to such great riches and that he'd just be able to write a check for his debt because he wanted that big giant story. Well, that business was not growing, and it was never going to grow because he was not financially responsible nor trusted with what he had already had. And if you're not faithful with the little things, the pennies, the nickels, the dimes, the dollars, the 5s, the 20s, because those fly out the window for a Starbucks, those fly out the window for some ice cream, those fly out the window for another pair of shoes, even though we are in debt. But it's not my debt, Dani, it's my ex-husband's. No, it is yours. You made the decision to marry the guy. It's yours. Period. So it's your decision to pay off debt starting today. today, Michelle, today. If you got a $500 line of credit, go pay it off. Eat all the food in your house. Do not go to the grocery store till all the food is gone and take the amount that you would have spent on food. Do not go out to dinner. Eat all the stale potato chips. Yes, that's what I want you to do. And I want you to annihilate that one credit card. I'm sure that if you're single, you spend about the same amount that every other single person does that I've ever ran into. Spend $500 a month on food. Don't spend a dime on food from this day forward until it's all gone in your house, and take that cash that you would have spent on the food and pay off something. Quick little tip. It's in the book, First Steps to Wealth. There's 2 whole chapters on it. Get her done, girl. And I want you to write me, and I want you to tell me that you're doing this. Get on Facebook and tell me that you're doing this. No more screwing around. No more farting around. Be done with it. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Isn't it crazy how many times we can justify our debt? I did. Many times. Oh, Lord, have mercy, did I? And I tried to blame my husband. I tried to blame my husband. Blaming somebody doesn't help the problem go away. Taking action helps the problem go away. Taking action. You're not going to get revenge. You're not going to be vindicated. You're not. You could blame somebody else for 5, 6, 7 years, or you could use that same amount of time and become completely debt-free. Did you hear me? Yeah, the war on debt system will help you to become completely debt-free, including your mortgage, in 5 to 7 years. We have seen it happen countless times. We can't even count how many times it's happened. Just follow directions. All right, this is Dani Johnson. We've got 2 people on hold. We're going to take these last 2 calls in this last segment of the Dani Johnson Show. I know this is helping you. You may not like how you're feeling right now. I know there's somebody that took off their belt and spanked their own butt. But sometimes that's what we got to do, right? Sometimes that's what we got to do. We don't have mom and dad anymore to tell us to put our nose in the corner for disobeying anymore. We don't. Sometimes I wish we did. Sometimes I wish we did. Some of us, we could actually use someone telling us to put our nose in the corner for our disobedience. Some of us need a belt on our butt. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue after this.
Hey, have you done a favor for your best friend yet? Then do it now. Share this program with them. The Dani Johnson Show, helping people just like you make life more enjoyable and rewarding.
Radio talk show host Dani Johnson in Kadwa, Haiti.
Hi, I'm Dani Johnson, and I'm here with Vida in her tiny little home. This home is the size of many people's closets in the United States of America. Now, we're sitting on a bed, just a piece of sheet or plastic that these beautiful babies sleep on. They have nothing. This family has nothing. No water, no food, nothing. Won't you do something? The Bible says that if you ignore the cry of the poor, then you too will cry and be ignored. They're not asking for nice clothes. They're asking for food. That's it. Food, water. You can help. We want to build her a home. We want to bring water, clean, fresh water here. But we can't do it alone. We need you.
Help us radically change a community. Go to kingsransom.org to make your donation to Kadwa, Haiti. That's kingsransom.org.
Okay, if you know me at all, I don't want you spending a penny more than you have to on anything. This is one of those things. If you're a business owner and take credit cards, you're paying too much unless you're working with my friend Kevin at Prestige Merchant Solutions. He's so confident that if he can't save you money, he'll pay you $100. Listen, if you're accepting payment by credit cards, check it out. 850-200-0709. That's 850-200-0709. Kevin guarantees 5-star service. He guarantees he'll save you money, and he'll pay you $100 if he can't. No risk, right? So what are you waiting for? Call today. It's quick to change your current service, incredibly reliable, 24/7 support, and payments are processed quickly. Tell him Dani sent you. There's nothing to lose. Call 850-200-0709. 850-200-0709. Stop overpaying today.
We're back. Here's Dani Johnson.
Dani, I just want to go on a vacation. It just seems like my finances are just never affording me such a thing. A couple weeks back, we were in Long Beach, California at First Steps to Success, and I was talking to a group of people about how they actually already have the money to do that.
The average single person that I've encountered through all the thousands of people that I've coached financially, the average single person spends about $500 a month on food. Now, that's crazy, nuts, and stupid. It is. Now watch. The average food budget for that one single person should be $20 per week. So 20 times 4 is $80. So $80. So what could you do with the other $420 per month? Well, 420 times 12 months is what? Thousands of dollars. It's thousands of dollars. You could go to Bora Bora in a year just by simply not blowing your money on food. So what do you want? You want the food that makes your butt big and your gut big and your arms big and flappy? Or would you like to go off on a dream vacation somewhere tropical? Huh? Pick it, friend. Quit whining about your money. Start spending it wisely and pointing it in the direction where you want it to go. All right, we've got Tanya from San Diego. Welcome to the Dani Johnson Show.
Hi, Dani.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, perfectly. Go for it.
Awesome. So I called in because I was requested to tell you about my $800 food card after I had gotten done from First Steps to Success, that I came home and I cut it up and I started living within my means. And I just was hoping to call in today to inspire other people that if you can come from welfare and mentality-wise of living off the system to coming into these skills. And being a single mom of 4 kids, and I homeschool all of them. Wow. I have been for 7 years. Wow. And still doing it by myself and still being able to live off of $1,700 a month, and my rent is $1,100. Wow. And just being able to get really out of the mindset of I'm not entitled and these things are not owed to me.
Yes.
And so I'm very thankful that I was able to stay on hold for the last hour, because I really feel like God was telling me that I've been doing a really good job on following directions.
Yes. Tanya, my gosh, first of all, thanks for being on hold for a whole hour. That is just such commitment to share. And you are really a herald, if you will, a trumpet, if you will. So you're saying that you were on welfare. And tell me, and you have 4 kids, you're a single mom, and you homeschool the kids. And so on welfare, you were getting $800 a month for your EBT card.
Correct. I came from a divorce that I was with for 6 years, and we lived off of $5,000 a month. Wow. When I divorced, they gave me $1,000 in child support and told me that I was not available for any other assistance but the food card. I really wanted out of this divorce. It was very domestic. It was just not good, and I just believed in the Lord that He would help me to recuperate and to get off onto a different level, because I grew up just like you. I have no family. Mm-hmm. Everybody that I know, they're on drugs, they're tweakers. Yeah. But I had met the Lord, and I'm saved. And God took me from an addiction from when I was 11 years old till I was 27, 16 years of being on drugs and having kids. And one night, He just took me from that addiction. And ever since, I went to church, and He has just radically changed my life. And when I listened to you, I began to have skills, and knowing that the church is a very poverty mentality. Yep. They would tell me the same thing. You know, you need to get on welfare. You need to stay on there. You need the government constantly. So it wasn't until a lady had told me, because I don't watch TV, she called me up and she says, there's a lady that has the same background as you, and if she can do it, I know that the skills that she's talking about could probably help you to advance you on where you are right now. And so I plugged in, and right away I bought your grooming, and I bought More on Debt, and it was like a week later, I was like, Lord, thank you so much for this insight. Like, wow, this is dumbfounding. This is exactly what I've been trying to ask the church if they'll help me with, or somebody if they knew any of these skills. And what happened was I got and within a week after listening to you, I got an overcharge check from child support from like 3 years prior of $1,000. And I had always been, in the last 3 years prior to that, I had been like dehydrated from not having $5,000 a month. 4 kids were living off of $1,000. And so that was huge to me. And I wanted, after listening to your stuff, I wanted to take that $1,000 and start paying off something, or just even having a savings account. Yes. One night I woke up and God was like, you need to go to Dani Johnson. And I'm thinking, I have not flown. I don't leave my kids. Like, what? This is not, this is not God. And He wouldn't let me sleep. He would not let me sleep. I got on. I met a woman underneath the name of Westling, I said, I don't know about this place. I don't know how to fly. Can you please help me? She helped me book a first steps ticket. She got me a plane. She helped me to do all that. I came. I sat in the first row in front of you. For 10 hours, you spoke. I knew that I had potential. I knew that I could do this with my kids. I knew that I was alone, but God has brought me so far. He is not going to leave me. He cannot take this drug addict, this infested woman, all these kids, and he is not going to dump me.
No.
I wanted more. I seeked more. I just didn't know how to find it, and you wrecked me. You told me exactly what I needed to hear. I knew that I needed to follow directions and go home. It was very hard for me to not be able to, my kids, having them have that luxury lifestyle for so long and us being in now back on welfare and back into that apartment and back to where we weren't, but without the abuse was priceless.
Yes.
So I took the food card. I came home. I put it in the shredder. I called up welfare. I said, I no longer want this. I need any paperwork that I can have that I can tell you that I'm not going to get this anymore. I went to $100 a week with my kids. I even went down because I started noticing that I don't know how I'm going to pay for SDG&E. I don't know how I'm going to pay for other things. But I did. God just kept downloading strategies. I just kept getting on the internet and watching War on Debt, people just saying how they freezer meal, how they do anything, and I just incorporated it all. I thought, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make a way where there is no way, and my kids are going to see something different. I am the only person to stand out.
Yes.
I have a little bit different situation because I have 3 dads for my kids, 4 of them. I deal with them every Friday.
Yes.
And it's not an excuse. It's just the fact that they have a lot more money than I do, and my kids come back and forth with a lot different mentality every week.
Sure.
I take them to church. They don't.
It's okay, and that's okay.
Homeschool. They don't like that I homeschool.
That's okay. And let me just tell you this. First of all, you've got tears coming down in my eyes because I'm so inspired by you. And I got to tell you, yes. And I got to tell you, Tanya, there's a story in you. And I can see that you are going to help other women get off welfare. And I can see that you're going to be a voice of truth and hope. And you're going to shake the foundations of so many that have come to this place of being entitled. But God is going to use you in a really, really powerful way. And I see you as one that is going to be able to write even a booklet on how to get out of debt even on welfare. How, as a single mom with 3 dads of 4 children, how do you change your life like that? I believe that that is exactly what God is going to do with you. And I'm excited to watch that thing happen. And by the way, all of our kids go another place where other people tell them something different. It's life. The seed you're sowing is godly. And that will reap a harvest, no question. This is Dani Johnson. I hope today's program blessed you. I know that last story blessed me, and it blessed you. We'll talk to you tomorrow, giving some great tips on how to improve every area of your life. Thanks so much for joining us.
You've been listening to The Dani Johnson Show. It's our belief that you can live a better, healthier, happier life. All you need is a little encouragement, a different perspective, a positive force in your life. Get that and more on the next Dani Johnson Show.
Is God calling you to the entertainment industry? Do you want to rise for Him? Do you want to be an actor, model, singer, or dancer and shine for God? Do you think the world needs better role models? Do you want to be a star for the Most High God? Actors, models, and talent for Christ is coming to a city near you. A new generation of Christian performers is rising. Call 800-STAR-420 or go to amtcaudition.com. God gave you talent for a reason, and that is to shine for Him. So we are searching for actors, models, singers, and dancers. Go to amtcaudition.com to find out when and where the next free audition will be held. Entertainment is the best opportunity for Christians to change the world, and the time is now. Are you ready for that call? 800-STAR-420 or go to amtcaudition.com. That's actors, models, and talent for Christ. Register for your audition today. You tell yourself that life isn't that bad. You relish the small pleasures. Drive-through coffee, big screen TV, vacations bought on credit cards. But that's as good as life gets unless you take a leap of faith. This is millionaire, author, radio and television show host Dani Johnson, inviting you to join me for 2 days where you will acquire the skills to make the life you crave a reality. Call now 844-200-DANI or visit firststepstosuccess.com.